Ryan Reynolds recently shared how he and his wife, Blake Lively, how they approach parenting their 4 kids. And he says that they take a soft approach, that they don't yell and they focus on staying calm.
Kind of different from how we all grew up, right?
A little bit.
It's called soft or gentle parenting, and you're likely hearing it more and more these days. Here to break it all down is parenting expert Alyson Schafer. Alyson, let's start off with defining this more specifically. Soft or gentle parenting, how different is it from the way we were all raised?
Yeah. So that original term was coined in 2016 by a UK psychologist, parenting expert, Sarah Ockwell-Smith. So her, brand is just the way that there's dolphin parenting and free range parenting. Everyone's trying to make a brand around their parenting. So that's hers. And the basic pillars that she talks about are fourfold. There's sort of 4 tenets. So one is about being respectful to children. The second one is about validating and helping them through their emotions, respecting their experience, building up on that relationship, strong parent-child relationship. And then the fourth one is discipline, but using positive discipline as opposed to shaming and kind of punitive styles. And that's really the history that we come from. We really have a long-standing tradition of being more ruling with an iron fist, do as I say, not as I do, using either punishment and rewards to kind of manipulate children to mind our will. So this is really about a model about trying to create a situation whereby the child is more likely to be willingly cooperative and using that relationship to help them grow and nurture. So it is a shift from our past, for sure.
Okay, Alyson, what would you say to those who might argue that gentle parenting is maybe just a little too lenient?
I would actually agree. And what I mean by that is, as I look at her research and I understand that there's sort of the original 4 styles of parenting are autocratic, democratic, permissive, and neglectful. And that democratic one, that balancing of the firm and friendly is the one that we want to aim for. And that's what her category would be. But when I talk to parents in my private practice and I hear the stories of what's happening in their families, they're sliding into permissive. They're getting too much into the inflation of dealing with kids' emotions, and they are letting go of setting those boundaries. And that's a really important role for parents. So if we start getting all wrapped up that my kid is crying and disappointed that they dropped their ice cream cone on the sidewalk, and I get down on my knees and talk to them for 15 minutes and go buy a new one, that's moving away from the firm part of the firm and friendly balance. And that, I would say, is mostly the application I'm seeing mistakenly in the families that I'm working with now.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so if we find that balance and you want us to be in firm but friendly but firm, in that range right there, what are we going to see from our kids in the long run?
So again, this is not my opinion. This is long-standing evidence-based research on what has the best outcomes for kids. And so what the research shows is that children that are raised with that style of parenting are more likely to have a better self-esteem, more likely to have the coping mechanisms and strategies to handle life's difficulties. They're better problem solvers. They have stronger relationships, and we know that relationships are a protective factor for mental health, for resiliency. So all of those outcomes come from this approach. And I get that it is hard to kind of walk that middle line of balancing both of those two. But if you can just sort of set that as your beacon, as your goal, you're going to find that the long-term outcomes are worth the effort you're going to put in, for sure.
All right, Alyson, for parents who are trying their best to be more patient and compassionate, but they're also frustrated, what advice do you have for them?
Well, first, none of us are perfect. In fact, I think it would be flawed parenting to be a perfect parent. So we're humans. We've got buttons. We get reactive. We're tired too. I would say be kind with yourself, for sure. But I also think get educated. Take a parenting class. If you think you're going to get all your parenting information from Instagram Reels, you're going to have a lot of gaps. So get yourself educated. And then if you have your moment, your mistakes, your blowouts like we are, own it and make the recovery something that you're modeling to your children what we need to do when we slop up in life. And so I would say you know what? I'm so sorry. I didn't handle myself well. I can do better. Let's do a do-over. I'd like to try that again. So that owning your mistakes is a huge part of managing the situation.
I feel like I'm good at that part. The kids have come to know. So Mom messed up there. Sorry, guys. But like you said, it's owning up to your mistakes and calling it out and talking about it for sure. All right. Great stuff as always. Thank you, Alyson.
You're right. And if Blake and Ryan need any help, they can call me. I'd make room in my roster in my private practice. Absolutely.
All right. Noted. We'll let them know.